What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Greg Frog, coming back at you with another video. Today, we finna be reacting to 10 most mysterious to unexplained events. So without further ado, let's get it and let's go.
Hey guys, it's Chris. From the cryptic devil's Bible that the world doesn't want you to know about, to a bizarre and unsolvable massacre in a small German town.
Cryptic devil Bible.
Unexplained and mysterious events that you won't even believe. Number 10. The Devil's Bible. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is the largest medieval manuscript in the world. Most historians agree that the entirety of the manuscript was created by a single monk from Bohemia, which is modern-day Czechia. And while the ridiculous size of the book makes it remarkable in itself, the inexplicable portrait of Satan is perhaps the strangest part of the whole thing. The manuscript was created in the 13th century, originally stored in a special monastery, and contained within the pages are the New Testament, the Old Testament, and an assortment of strange texts addressing exorcism, medical works, and even grammar. It's kinda completely bizarre. In this day and age, it might not seem that extraordinary for a single person to write a giant book, but 620 pages of work in the 13th century is unheard of.
Yeah!
If the monk worked for 6 hours a day, 6 days a week,
for what?
It would take about 5 years to complete the writing. However, historians believe it likely took at least 30 years for him to actually finish the book. Between breaks, the immense decorating of the manuscript, the artistic renderings, and the plotting and writing itself, it likely took most of the monk's life to finish. But
why would you do that? Like, why would you spend all your time into writing the book that's only gonna get you in hell, dummy? You stupid.
The real mystery here is what the Dark Lord is doing within the book. The fully colored drawing takes up a full page, and nobody has any idea why the monk added it. Maybe he thought it would be funny. Maybe he just started drawing it and decided it should just go in the book. But whatever the case, the Devil's Bible is currently protected inside the National Library of Sweden.
It better be, because if it ain't, I'll burn it. Skip!
In Stockholm. Number 9. 15th century UFO. Everyone loves the Mona Lisa in the Sistine Chapel, but there is another piece of artwork out there that deserves a lot of attention. I'm talking about the Madonna with St. Giovanni, painted by Domenico Ghirlandaio in the 15th century. At first glance, the painting does not appear out of the ordinary. The Madonna immediately catches your attention. But if you look beyond her left shoulder, you can see very clearly what appears to be a UFO hovering in the sky. And while it's easy to dismiss the splotch of black paint as an accident or maybe even a bird, if you look even...
Told you they know about UFOs. I told you. They playing like we stupid. Come on now.
Closer, you'll notice a man and his dog gazing upward at the object. The man even seems to be pointing directly at it. So what could this mean? Did the painter witness a UFO in the 15th century? Some people suggest that the Madonna has positioned herself in the painting in such a way so that she shields the children from the unidentified flying object. But again, what could that mean? The truth is that nobody really knows what the object in the painting is or why it was placed there. Artists usually have their own interpretations and meanings going on when they create a piece of artwork like this. So it's very possible that the truth of the matter died with the artist hundreds of years ago. Number 8. The Tunguska explosion. Next up is something beyond boggling. On June 30th of 1908, the sky exploded, and to this day, nobody knows why. The incident occurred in a remote region of Siberia, and those who still remember the incident refer to it as the Tunguska event or the Tunguska explosion. It all went down first thing in the morning when an explosion rocked the eastern Siberian taiga. The blast flattened somewhere around 80 million trees and affected an area of roughly 830 square miles. According to witnesses,
that's a lot of dead trees.
A flare of light even brighter than the sun, and a sound so robust it was deafening. This shockwave was so powerful that people were knocked off their feet, and windows were shattered for hundreds of miles around.
What?
The mystery. This was 1908. There were no nuclear weapons. There was no man-made device that could cause such a catastrophe. And when investigating the area, nobody could find a crater. It seemed that the sky literally exploded. Many astrologists believe that what actually happened was an incoming comet that exploded inside the atmosphere just 3 miles above the surface of the Earth before making impact. The comet would have been about the size of a 5-story building and likely entered the Earth's atmosphere at about 33,000 miles per hour. But this is just a theory. Nobody truly knows what happened. It could have been a comet, it could have been something unexplainable.
For real.
It could have been aliens. What do you think? Number 7, the
Aliens!
massacre.
I think you're aliens, man. Stop!
Even in the early 1900s, it was still hard to get away with murder. Police were diligent, witnesses were willing to talk, and there weren't exactly airplanes for people to make a clean getaway. But there was something truly horrific that went down in Germany in 1922 and has yet to be explained. It happened at a small farm about 43 miles from Munich. This was a small and quiet place, far from any violence or danger. The farm was operated by the Gruber family. And on March 31st, an unknown person or persons murdered every last Gruber in one of the most tragic and confusing cases in serial killing history. And the murders weren't ordinary either. Each member of the family, 6 in total, was lured one by one to their death, and killed. After that, the family maid and her baby were also murdered. It wasn't for a week that they stopped by to check on the family after none of them had been seen, only to stumble upon the gruesome carnage.
No!
Called in. They launched an investigation, and they interviewed over 100 suspects. In fact, the Munich police interviewed a suspect as recently as 1986. That's over 60 years after the incident. But still, the case has yet to be solved. But it gets even weirder. 6 months before the murders, the original maid at the farm had quit because of hearing voices. The maid believed the house was haunted. Whether this has anything to do with the murders or not, nobody knows, but it's definitely a little strange. Number 6, time-traveling hipster. What do hipsters in the 1940s have in common? The answer is absolutely nothing. Nonetheless, a picture has recently surfaced of a hipster who apparently traveled back in time to 1941. The image first cropped up online in 2004, and you can very clearly pick out the man who does not belong in the photo. While everyone else is wearing old-timey clothes, this guy appears to have sunglasses, a hoodie,
yeah, what you doing, son?
T-shirt. He's also carrying what appears to be a handheld digital camera. At first glance, it most certainly looks like someone from the hipster future figured out a way to go back in time and take photographs. Could this be a form of tourism from the future? The answer is an astounding no. According to Snopes.com, this photograph has actually been debunked. The guy may look like a time traveler, but all his attire is actually fitting for the 1940s. It's just the way the picture looks that makes the guy so out of place. First, there was a portable camera available in 1941 from Kodak. It's not a surprise at all.
Kodak!
Camera. After all, the guy did show up in a photograph likely taken by a portable camera. There were also special sunglasses with side shields available in the 1940s, though they may not have been that popular. And as for the t-shirt, well, it appears to bear the logo of an NHL team that operated between 1924 and 1938. So really, it's just a total coincidence, and it's not a time traveler at all. Number 5.
How they know these people's shirts, man?
In the year 1952, Washington, D.C. was besieged by flying saucers. The general public has mostly forgotten about this weird and mysterious extraterrestrial event. It happened in the summer, and the press and public alike demanded answers for the unexplained crafts that swarmed the White House several days in a row. The sightings were so plentiful that mainstream newspapers reported the phenomenon. But not only did civilians see the crafts, they were also spotted by special intelligence units within the United States Air Force. It all started at the Washington National Airport on July 19th, when an air traffic controller spotted 7 objects on his radar screen that came from out of nowhere. It literally was a fleet of flying saucers. At the exact same time, people were seeing bright lights zipping at incredible speeds above the White House. A pair of F-94 interceptor jets were scrambled to make contact with these mysterious objects, but they couldn't catch them. The blips on everyone's radar screens disappeared, and nobody managed to physically identify the UFOs with their eyes. The incident was national news. Everyone in the country knew that there were unidentified flying objects being chased through the skies of D.C. However, the Air Force came out and said that there were no UFOs at all, and everyone should just calm down.
What?
Eventually, everyone forgot about the incident. And to this day,
like always,
we still don't know what the UFO...
When you put yourself and you open yourself up to genuine connects
were. Number 4, a real demon possession. Moving on from the extraterrestrial to the paranormal. In Indiana in 2011, a woman named Latoya Mons moved into a new home with her mother and her 3 children. Then she started to hear footsteps in the basement. According to the report from the Daily Mail, one by one, Latoya and her children became possessed. A clairvoyant was called into the home, at which point it was determined that at least 200 demons were haunting the house. And while this sounds like the horrible plot from a budget horror movie, what makes it so strange is that the people who were supposed to be possessed actually ended up in the hospital.
Hey!
Several news sources, one of Latoya's possessed children, a 9-year-old boy, walked backwards up a wall and
No!
looked on in disbelief. There were also instances of children floating above beds.
Oh, hell no.
Naturally,
Oh, hell no. It's time to get out.
Didn't end until an authorized Catholic priest came into the hospital and performed an exorcism. Now, you can believe what you want, but this apparently really happened. Because we're dealing with demons, there's no scientific way to confirm a possession. But considering the number of witnesses and the amount of press, this might be the best documented possession case in the USA.
Duh.
The Hook Island Sea Monster. One of the more bizarre mysteries out there in the world is the Hook Island Sea Monster. The original photograph of this monster was taken in 1965, and it looks kind of like a tadpole except that it's larger than a shark lurking just beneath the water. The picture was taken at Stonehaven Bay on Hook Island in Queensland. Witnesses reported that the beast was at least 30 feet long and behaved just like an underwater snake. But here's where things get weird. After it was spotted a few times in the 1960s, nobody ever saw it again. The legend of the monster dried up and became mostly forgotten. It's very possible that whatever monstrosity had been living in the bay either died or went into hiding. And what makes this such a convincing case is that the photograph taken of the beast came from a time when there was no Photoshop. Something massive was definitely spotted. We just have no idea what it was. Number 2, exploding Siberian craters. In a remote part of the Arctic Circle, random wounds are appearing in the melting permafrost. According to the report from the BBC, there appear to be random holes exploding into existence all across the landscape. It's a mysterious event that scientists say should be worrying to the entire planet. Some of these random holes are at least 164 feet deep and around 6 feet wide. The prevailing theory is that the permafrost melts and shifts below the surface, and that causes huge explosions. Blocks of ice and soil are tossed hundreds of feet through the air due to a sudden buildup of intense pressure. But scientists can't really figure out why or how it's happening. This is especially worrying for people who live in this remote area, because imagine standing directly over the place where the Earth randomly just explodes. If a person were standing at the site of the explosion, they'd be blown to pieces. Hopefully, with more science, scientists can determine what's causing the buildup of pressure underground and what it means for the future of our planet. If the ground is literally blowing apart as if hit with a cannon, I mean, that doesn't really sound very good, does it?
Hey,
no, it don't sound good.
10 million daily players on your smartphone or tablet.
Hey guys.
Scott!
Yo. Don't you think it's whack we gotta wait till next week to get paid for the work we're doing?
Number 1, the Venus event. The last story for today takes us off the planet. New research is suggesting that Venus was once an inhabitable planet. Scientists are now saying that billions of years ago, Venus had oceans of water and land masses that could have supported life. However, something happened that changed the surface of that planet. Scientists don't know what this mysterious event was, but they claim that whatever happened changed the entire planet and turned it into an inhospitable death trap. The oceans were destroyed, the atmosphere became toxic, and the surface temperature rose to about 864 degrees. Just for the record, that's hot enough to melt lead.
Yes!
Venus is often referred to as Earth's twin because both planets are of similar size. The comparisons kind of end there. What's really fascinating about this discovery is that Venus basically looked like Earth for roughly 3 billion years. That's long enough for complex life forms to take root and thrive. That means that there could have been dinosaurs and maybe even monkeys or humanoid creatures living on Venus.
Yay!
Earth looks today.
Flight
New
reacts!
study says that somewhere around 700 million years ago, a biblical event triggered a massive release of carbon dioxide and almost instantaneously terraformed the planet, destroying its habitability and turning it into a hot ball of toxic gas. The only question remaining is whether this will happen to our planet, and if so, when? What do you think the future holds for Earth? And do you have any theories that might help to solve one of these mysterious events? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't hold anything back. Thanks.
Put it in the comments, man. That was crazy. That was crazy. But we about done with this video. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. It's your boy, Craig, and I'm out of here. Nay!